fans, and welcome to a very special new day, new race, new track. It is round 3, race 3 here, season 2 of the Prime Meridian Racing League, and you are watching it right here live, of course, on VirtualRacing.Network, as we've been here all season with you, covering the Prime Meridian Racing League. Now, of course, here in the booth today, as he has been all season, it is my pleasure to bring in Julian Altena. Hey, Julian, great to have you here again today, and really looking forward to a nice and fun race around this brand new track for iRacing.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Trevor. But it's round 3 of the season. Third broadcast for me with you guys over at the VirtualRacing.Network. But the RedBull Ring is up tonight. Gonna be a great race here. We've got 9 very challenging corners. It's a short track as well. So it's gonna be a great race, long straights, heavy braking zones. So all that you really need for a good race.
Indeed. Just actually what you need for a good race is just a piece of tarmac and to put all of these PMRL drivers out there at the same time, to be honest with you, because they are competitive, they are fast, and it is a pleasure to, of course, be able to cover them week in and week out. This week, I'm just so looking forward to it. I've done thousands of laps here, as many other of the drivers have, for sure. Over the years in Formula One, different sims, and get in my fast laps just like all of these great drivers, and across the whole sim racing universe, to be quite honest with you. But Julian, I haven't done a lot of actual races here. Just watched Formula One coverage and some different like touring car coverage from here, but not too familiar with how it's going to race today. I think tire degradation might be minimal, given the fact that, well, it was only 21 degrees Celsius just a moment ago. So may not be the hottest race, may not see a lot of tire degradation. As a result, everybody out on track right now trying to take advantage of the cool weather and get their qualifying in.
Yeah, definitely. And the track temperature has just gone up 1 degree from practice, which isn't a lot, to be honest with you. But yeah, it all depends on the setup that the admins have put on this car as well. Of course, the cameras and everything plays a big part in that, but I think they have this sorted for this car. So yeah, like you said, the tires might not really go off at all. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, maybe. I think we'll notice it pretty soon, though, if they do fall off or not, probably about 6-7 laps, and we'll know the answer to that question. But yeah, it's going to be interesting strategy-wise. I'm not really sure about the fuel number, to be honest with you. I've never really raced her in the IndyCar, but just like you, I've actually watched a lot of F1 coverage as well. So yeah, we've got some good racing awaiting us, waiting for us here tonight. As I'm watching a few cars go through turn 1 here, which is one of the chaos zones for the start. So I'm really looking forward to that part, at least.
The part I'm looking forward to is just the word that you just said, chaos. There is so much opportunity for some random chaos to happen out here on track. But as typical during the race, it could also get spread out. So we don't really know. IndyCars, of course, in real life have never been here at the RedBull Ring. It would be cool to see them do that at some point in real life, but I doubt we'll get that opportunity anytime soon. So this is what we're going to get. We get the Prime Meridian Racing League bringing all of their cars here, loading their transporters and their planes, and flying in all of the vehicles. We're going to have, what are we looking at today? Looks like 10, 15, as many as possibly 20 cars on track today. We'll have to see how it all shakes out at the end of this one. But as you mentioned, fun, exciting, lots of championship implications going on at the moment as well. And let's go ahead and take a look while we have a moment. We can get the current points up on the screen as these drivers are continuing their qualifying laps, and they'll have about another, let's see, 15 minutes of qualifying, I believe, to go. So here on your screen, you can see the team standings, and SMS Racing holding the top of the team standings after 2 rounds. Thank you so much to Vilde Wallen at PMRL, the Vopsy there, for Vopsy iRacing paint supplying these graphics to us. But Wyvern Racing holding on in second. We all know what's at stake there. If Wyvern Racing gets first position, their drivers have agreed that they will get the tattoo of their logo of Wyvern Racing at the end of the season. So well, it depends on who you're rooting for, but that would be very interesting to see. Of course, we'll get all the picks, because without picks, it didn't happen. So third there is Three Crowns Racing with IAR, strong contingent in the field. Interesting to note also that Power Slide and Team Talent coming in fourth and fifth, but those teams only represented by a single driver in the field in Andreas Eich and Hugo Olsen. Now here are the driver point standings. Will Lyon and Hugo Olsen tied exactly at 97. As in the background, you see Will Lyon spinning out from his current pole position, doing some lawn clipping there and getting back underway. But Hugo Olsen tied, as I mentioned, and then third, Matthew Levine, Will Lyon's SMS teammate. They've just brought in also Daniel Dinsdale to compete for SMS Racing as well, and you can see Matthew Levine, Jesper Orman, Daniel Dinsdale there in fifth. So we'll go back to the live picture here. And as you can see, it is Will Lyon with 13 minutes to go with a 1:12.99 lap. Severi Seppa now driving with us this week. That's fantastic to see. Brand new, fast competitor. I've seen Severi so many times in different official series out there. But Severi coming in with the second fastest time, the Finnish driver, making his name known here in the series. Also, Julian, take a look at who's in third. It's none other, well, now fourth make it, but Anna Joffrey coming in right now with the fourth fastest time, a 1:13.39. And that's not the speed that we saw out of Anna in the first race at Road America. So definitely stepping up the pace here at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, and at Road America, she wasn't quite on the pace of the front runners, but she did have a pretty solid race until an unfortunate incident. I can't remember exactly anymore if it was a driving mistake or not, but I think she was involved in something that dropped her out of contention for a good points finish. So it's good to see that she is up to the pace of the leaders really here. She's only 3/10 off, so great step forward from Road America for her.
And that's really the name of the game for most of these competitors. For those of you who are familiar with championship style racing, it's instead of just going out there and racing one-off races, of course, you're competing over the length of a season, and the Prime Meridian Racing League, 10 races long. It gives you a chance to kind of benchmark yourself and try and increase your speed over time, and try and use your relative pace to somebody like Will Lyon or Matthew Levine, the top front runners, and trying to gauge how fast you are at the beginning of the season, where you're finishing, how far your pace is off, and then by the middle to the end of the season, if you can make some progress on that and maybe climb some positions, you'll know that you have, in fact, improved over the season. I think that's really just what everybody is all about. Oscar Fredrickson for Velocity Online Racing now. Fredrickson has a lot of experience in fixed setups, and but he's not known as the best road course racer out there, and putting in a great time in fourth place, 1:13.24 that last time by.
Yeah, it's great to see that he is picking up the pace. Honestly though, Oscar is one of my teammates. I've actually known him as a road course driver myself, so it's safe to say that he has been driving a lot of ovals though, so maybe he has kind of lost that edge on the road courses, but he does definitely know how to drive on them. So yeah, great pace from Oscar at the moment, going into P4. And actually at Milwaukee he got a podium as well, which is a short oval, but it drives a lot like a road course in the Velocity Racing IndyCar series on the last weekend, so a great performance by him there as well. So I think this week he's trying to keep the momentum going and get another solid finish here today. I believe he is into the 6th position in the Drivers' Championship as well, after just doing one race at Gateway, so making some gains in the Prime Meridian Racing League.
And it's, again, we're just talking about making gains week in and week out. It's not all about beating the leader or always being in first place. It's about, being in a great group of racers, being able to trust while you're racing around them, and being able to make progress and learn the cars, because these cars are so complicated. Even if it is a fixed setup, very complicated to get the handle on the ARBs and how to deal with the tires over the length of the stint. Kind of prima donnas, if I'm being totally honest, these cars, to keep them in the right zone. See Connor Pearson on pit road for Wyvern Racing, the top runner right now for Wyvern, 2 spots ahead of his teammate Sam Blackwood, who is currently on track in 7th place. So continuing to get Wyvern Racing up into the top 5 positions. And Jesper Orman, who another one of those drivers, and I say not necessarily a road course driver. Maybe it's just I'm doing too much oval coverage, but it seems like every time I see Oscar Fredrickson, it's showing up for an oval or something. And Jesper Orman, he's much more straightforward about it. He's done a lot of oval racing. He loves oval racing, but it's time to expand out. We talk to him every week, and it's time to really conquer that road course side of the IndyCar and get that up to the same level that his oval racing is at. And just as I say this, why am I seeing, I guess Will Lyon last time by did an exact lap down to the 100 that he did before, 112.99. So not yet going faster, but Will Lyon going exactly the same speed as he went before. And you can see also just ahead of him, Matthew Levine now going off track, bringing a little bit of dust and gravel back onto the track, right onto the racing line. Hopefully that's not too much of a problem for his fellow competitors. We continue to go back through the field. Let's take a look at some of the other drivers. Here's Mark Johnston for drivedoctors.co.uk, out there in the PMRL pink livery today. And currently he's sitting in 10th place, trying to improve his time. Here's another SMS Racing driver out plowing the grass. So that marks, I haven't seen, I think I've seen all of the SMS Racing drivers out there. It's really scary to see all of Ian Bell's face on 4 different cars at the same time. It's a little unnerving, I'm not going to lie. But looking at those SMS Racing driver cars, SMS driving cars, racing team cars, are they've all been out plowing the grass. Now at the same time, they're also first, third in qualifying. Now, my question to you is, Julian, is there a coincidence? Do you want to have a better lawn clipping car, and will that make you faster?
Not really sure what the answer to that question is, but yeah, they're of course pushing the limits, in which that's what qualifying is all about, and especially in these long open qualifiers, you really have to push the limits because you can simply. So yeah, that's what they're probably trying to do. Probably just going over it a few moments there, but they're trying to get all of the time out of their cars, which they can, which is of course great to watch, but sometimes it goes wrong.
Of course I'm joking, and I appreciate you rolling with the joke, Julian. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not, but it's all live. And
okay, sorry. You know, I'm trying to keep up with this, but it's a little bit difficult sometimes.
It's a little bit of a communication barrier. There's the pond in the way, but you know who is somebody that I would kind of expect to see in the top 5 before qualifying is over, and certainly during the race, is Hugo Olsen, a driver with a lot of road course experience and frequently shows up in that top group. Right now, I say only with a 13.7, but that's these are fast times these drivers are putting in. So, not sure if Hugo thought it might be it might not be that fast this week, but we'll see whether he can put in a final lap and get in a top qualifying time. Andreas Eich, another driver very well versed on road courses and pushing the limits of the track boundaries there. as he tries to get faster than that 12th place current qualifying position. Erica Lindstrom, new driver into the series. Great to have Erica on board with us. Just got all of the paint files matched up, so hopefully everything is looking great. And that bright green, white, and black Three Crowns Racing with IAR machine trying to make it up into the top end of the qualifying order as we're down under 5 minutes. David Soranzo for NSH Racing currently down in 15th. And again, this is something we have been talking about, just not really getting the performance out of the car, David Soranzo, is that we saw from season 1. Soranzo was frequently at the front, but not really able to duplicate that so far this season. So we'll watch during the race. Perhaps some more things will shake out. Here's another driver who's just having a lot of fun out there. Had fun last week and continuing to try to improve and get up there into the top 10. It's Danny Brennan. And so we'll look for Danny to keep on it, keep the pace going, and possibly see Danny up there in the top 10 going forward. Manuel Gomez Esteban. It's really awesome to see him there, part of our U.S. IndyCar League group of drivers. Unfortunately, not quite getting in a great qualifying time here thus far, 1:16.23. So a couple of seconds off the pace for Manuel, but perhaps can get in a final lap. Why don't we go ahead and ride around here with Will Lyon. He's finishing up his lap. Actually, he's just going to be pulling into the pit. So see Matthew Levine pulling into the pits. We'll ride with Severi Seppa as he continues through, this is now turn 3, I believe, headed down to turn 4. Wow, just getting it a little loose, a little wrong. Not going to work out. Well, I guess we'll go back with Oscar Fredrickson. Maybe he'll take us around for a full lap. So this is through turn 3, down to turn 4. Now, you were saying, Julian, that there might be a problem with track limits coming down to turn 4. And then also, what is the official name of track 4, or turn 4 down here?
All right, now you're gonna leave me to all the fun. All right, so this is turn 4. You can actually run really wide on the runoff area, which you just saw Oscar go through. On the you have this green bit next to the track, and then there's some more runoff which you can run. From iRacing, I've seen that being used in some other leagues. But yeah, turn 4 is called Schlossgold, and I'm gonna try to pronounce these names. I'm Dutch, but these names are German, so I think I should manage okay-ish. But Oscar just went through Rauch and Worth up to Rindt, which is named after Jochen Rindt, who was a Formula 1 driver in the 70s and 80s. Into turn 10 now, Red Bull Mobile is this corner name. Now we're going down the front straight again into turn 1, which is a perfect opportunity to do a kamikaze action into turn 1 at the race start, like Kvyat did in 2017. Still hurts to say, but through turn 1, the Niki Lauda curve, down into turn 2, which isn't really a corner, doesn't even have a name. So yeah, just scrap that turn number from this track map, please, F1. But into turn 3 now, the braking zone, into Remus, I think is how you pronounce that, which is the second overtaking opportunity around the track, turn 1 being the main one. So I think we've covered around about all the corners at this point. Going back into turn 4 with the track limits here, you can see the green, but you can run over that. So look for that to be potentially used in the race.
Amazingly well done. Thank you so much, Julian, bringing great round of professionalism here to the VirtualRacing.Network studios. Appreciate it.
I'm trying.
You're doing stupendously well. And Julian was also a little sick last week. Wasn't sure if he was going to make the broadcast. Still a little under the weather, but it's great that you're making these broadcasts and out here to have fun with us and enjoy these drivers. I'm wondering if Fredrickson is going to get in the fastest lap here, because look at this. Sector 1 was purple, Sector 2 green. He goes to second place. Oscar Fredrickson, the dynamite lap at 12:09.3. That would have been fastest to take pole if it were not for Will Lyon last lap diving in there with a 12.77 and taking that pole position thus far. Not really sure why our timing and scoring is showing me something different.
Yeah, mine was struggling as well. It updated now, though, for me at least. So Will Lyon and Oscar Fredrickson, the only 2 cars in the 1 minute 12s, the rest all in the 1 minute 13s. And if you look on the timing tower, it's all very close. This track is only 4.3 kilometers, so look for the race to be very close as well. But qualifying about to wrap up here at the Red Bull Ring.
Well, those of you who know me privately know that I am just one step away from flipping out on this software because it seems to decide to do what it wants to do whenever it wants to do it. And I'm a paid subscribing member, so when it's not showing you accurate information, it truly bothers me, but it is live coverage, and so we'll update you manually. Will Lyon, a 112.77, fastest lap thus far. And Oscar Fredrickson second. There's still Matthew Levine on track as we are now finished with qualifying. Matthew Levine, Connor Pearson, are they still working? Yes, they are still working. Anna Jorfi still on a flying lap. Could potentially put in a final lap here. Not showing purple yet, but we will see. Also, Adam Gleason still on track. Jorfi faster. Her fastest sector 2 there. Not faster in sector 3, but good enough for... So that was good enough to improve her time, but 7th place for Jorfi after this qualifying session. So we'll get all of this worthless timing tower off of there since it's not showing you the accurate times now anyway. And we'll be able to show you as soon as this does go official final results from the qualifying session. But you know, you got to work it out over 65 laps of action today, and that's really where the money is made in the race. They don't give big trophies away. They just give you a little sticker to put on your car if you're on pole position like Will Lyon is. But if you want the big trophy, you got to make it to the end. And I think we've finally come to the end of the session, so we can show it for you there. And qualifying results, you've got Will Lyon on the pole for round 3 here at the Red Bull Ring, Prime Meridian Racing League. Starting alongside will be Oscar Fredrickson, 3rd, Severi Seppa in debut here on VirtualRacing.Network. Matthew Levine, 4th. Sam Blackwood, 5th. Connor Pearson, 6th. And Anna Jorfi coming in 7th. Great qualifying effort there, beating out SMS Racing teammate Daniel R. Dinsdale to Will Lyon and Matthew Levine. And also Adam Gleason for SMS Racing coming in 9th. 10th for Jesper Orman. 11th for Hugo Olsen in that top Swedish driver battle. They're now going to be sitting right next to each other. It'll be interesting to see how that develops over the race. Mark Johnston in 12th. Good qualifying time there. Andreas Eich in 13th. David Soranzo, Erica Lindstrom in 14th. David Soranzo in 15th. Brennan in 16th. And Esteban getting in a time, but I think that's not the type of time that he would be looking for. And Vilda shown there, but Vilda is one of the stewards in the race control tower. So not a surprise. Will Lyon, your points leader, last season's champion, on the pole. But I tell you who is kind of a surprise. I'm looking at Oscar Fredrickson, and I didn't mean to leave him out of the best Swedish driver competition, by the way. Sorry about that, Oscar. Just so used to calling Hugo Olsen and Jesper Orman in that competition. But top Swedish driver in qualifying, at least, Oscar Fredrickson coming in for Velocity Online Racing, and Severi Seppa, Finnish driver, coming in 3rd there. This is interesting. These are new names that haven't been challenging Will Lyon necessarily, and so it will be interesting to see if anyone can mount a charge and be able to tame the bull, so to speak, here at the Red Bull Ring today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's safe to say, though, that like we've been talking about earlier on the broadcast, improvement is definitely made over the course of a season. And some drivers like Oscar, they haven't really done the season full time, but they're definitely racing in other leagues as well. So they're always improving, and you can see that with a lot of drivers, especially Anna Jorvi, for example. They're all improving, which is great to see, of course, and especially at the Red Bull Ring with the track being so short, those gaps are always going to be pretty much halved. So it's going to even spice up the competition some more. So it should be a great race to watch. Also, want to point out, by the way, we've been talking about Manuel Gomez Esteban. I do know him, and he is primarily an oval driver, so he's actually doing pretty well to be in the 1-minute 16s. Although it is P17, it's quite a solid lap for, let's say, an oval specialist turning some laps on a road course.
Absolutely. No, it's you, and that's all part of it. Again, we're talking about Jesper Orman. He beat out Hugo Olsen in qualifying there. That's amazing. Jesper is not a road course driver. He's very adamant about that. And again, I watched Adam Crane and Hugo Olsen. I watched Hugo Olsen beat Adam Crane. He's double champion of IndyCar right now, the Open Series and the IndyCar iRacing Series, and Hugo Olsen took the fight right to him directly and was able to beat him a couple of times. So I've seen, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing Jesper Orman increase his capabilities, but then you go and see somebody like Oscar Fredrickson. As you said, he's done a lot of ovals. He's not necessarily here for every single race, and yet he's climbing up the order too. So it is about that personal challenge, and in the meantime, you got to look up there and say, did I get the results that I wanted from this race? How can I rebound next race and be stronger? And you'll go back and you'll look at all of those areas that somebody who is faster than you, better than you in the race, where were they better? How can I be that good? And by the end of the season, most of these drivers are going to find themselves in a totally different place than they were when they started the season in terms of their own competitiveness. But that's the way it goes here. And you fight for championships, and it's a game of small steps at a time. Sam Blackwood right now fastest in this warm-up session. A lot of drivers out there on the primary black tires, something that we can't show you because they don't give us that to show in the graphics, but we'll try to keep on top of that during the race, as all of these drivers will have to use both compounds. And Will Lyon setting now the fastest time on the red tires in this warm-up session. But again, another thing that you'll be doing as you learn how to utilize these different sessions as a driver, you're looking to improve, you're going to be practicing in the temperature of the warm-up, because now it's up another degree Celsius there on track. You'll be practicing maybe on the black tires, getting a feel for it. And then, of course, you'll be trying to do some pit stops just to make sure that you get that crucial in-lap and out-lap exactly right, because that is a place where you can save a lot of time on the track. So, driver's going to be out there gridding up. Jesper Orman, first one onto the grid. He likes to get out there and get ready to go. Why don't we go ahead and we'll, as they are coming out there onto the grid, we'll try and walk through the grid with you. And also, Julian, why don't you go ahead and give us your take on today's race? Anything that you're looking for? Is there a particular place you think would be great to make passes? Should drivers be watching for dive bombs in turn one exclusively, or are there other places you got to watch out?
Well, on sim racing, you never really know, so you could be dive bombed anywhere. But going into turn one, like I just mentioned during the qualifying session when I walked you guys through the track as well for a little bit, turn one is a perfect opportunity to take somebody out at the start, like Kvyat did in Formula 1 in 2017. Which is also one of the main overtaking spots later on in the race when you get properly into a rhythm. So turn one, that is. The run down to turns 2 and 3. Again, turn 2 isn't really a turn, but turn 3 is. For the heavy braking zone, really a hairpin. You can really make a good dive bomb there, and that actually works there as well. But you got to watch the exit though, because if you get the line wrong, your exit will be really bad as well. So you can easily get overtaken back into turn 4. And then really after that, it's all flat. Sorry, not flat out. It's all fast sweeping corners, so you can't really make anything happen there. You can run side by side through turns 5 and 6. But yeah, then it's all about settling into your position and trying again for the next lap, going through turns 9 and 10. Right here, these are all really fast, so you really can't do anything here. So yeah, coming up to the green flag here. So Trevor, up to you now.
It's up to me. We got 65 laps to go. It's Will Lyon for SMS Racing leading us to the green flag, and we are live here for the PMRL round 3 at RedBull Ring. And into turn 1, it looks pretty calm. We look back through the field, everybody minding their P's and Q's thus far, kind of side by side, but everybody sort of getting it worked out in mid-pack. No crashes to report, thankfully, and Will Lyon leads Oscar Fredrickson as they started into turn 4 there.
Oh, there's chaos in turn 3. I think I just saw somebody lock up. I'm not sure who it was. Actually, they all got through turn 3 okay. I thought it was going to be a massive amount of chaos there, but they all got through turn 3 okay, which is a huge surprise. But I did see going into turn 1 and Jorfi locked up the brakes a little bit, but thankfully nothing happened there as well.
And here we have a side-by-side battle happening, Julian. It's Matthew Levine and Oscar Fredrickson. Levine challenges Fredrickson and gets through. Good stuff from Matthew Levine, SMS teammate to Will Lyon, coming through and trying to fight off Oscar Fredrickson before he can get a run on Will Lyon.
He's coming back on the outside for turn 9. Oh, don't go side by side here this early. They're doing it side by side, and Oscar gets forced wide there a little bit and has to let the position go for now. But he's settling back into P3. Did get overtaken, and it was a solid move by Levine there, sorry. So, yeah. Lap 2 already.
Unfortunately, that's going to open the door. Here comes Severi Seppa on the button past Oscar Fredrickson right around. So Fredrickson choosing not to use any of that push to pass it. There also comes Connor Pearson right around Oscar Fredrickson. Fredrickson locks up and goes wide. Unfortunately, things going from bad to worse for Fredrickson. Started second, now falling through the field back to 7th. It's going to have to regroup now, Julian, and try and fix that. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Will Lyon. This is familiar show to us. 1.5, 1.6 seconds now, that gap to Matthew Levine, who's running in second for SMS Racing. Severi Seppa now up into 3rd place. And we take a look, it's Connor Pearson for Wyvern Racing, who's come up 2 spots as well. Racing just behind, now it's Sam Blackwood for Wyvern Racing. So just like that, Wyvern Racing up into the 4th and 5th position. And just behind that, Daniel Dinsdale trying to hold off Oscar Fredrickson, who fell back from his 2nd place starting position, now back in 7th. Not good running for that first lap from Oscar Fredrickson, unfortunately. He's going to have to really respond there, as Will Lyon has now put in that fastest lap of the race, 1:14.25 that time by Adam Gleason, now back into 8th spot as we see side-by-side battle happening just in front. It is Oscar Fredrickson once again getting passed, this time by Daniel Dinsdale.
No, he was actually trying to make a move on the outside for turn 3 there.
Trying to take that position back. I see they're still fighting side-by-side. Who's going to lift? Neither one, as we're still side by side. And finally, Fredrickson gets the position.
Yes, very nice move by Oscar there. So really going back to about a lap ago when he dropped back, what I do know, Oscar and my teammates especially, we like running maps 6 and 7. So what I think Oscar has done by accident is he moved into map 8 by accident.
Oh my.
Down the straight into turn 3. So that really costs you a lot of engine power, as you can imagine, as map 8 is a caution / pace lap engine map. So I think that's what happened, and that's why he slipped back, but he is back on the charge again, trying to make up that lost ground.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. The way that the fuel maps work, it's 1 through 8, and it's not really, it's not linear. It doesn't make sense to the logical brain. It's 1 through 5 are progressively more lean settings so that you can save fuel, and then 6 and 7 are full power, but just different throttle shapings, and you tend to use those on road courses in particular to try to control things like wheel spin. And unfortunately, then directly off the other side of 7 is 8, which is a caution fuel save. You would never try to use that during the race, which just cause issues. And so the unfortunate point is if you're trying to adjust that fuel map during the race, it's really easy to go from 6 to 5, or from 6 if you're in 7, go straight up to 8, and you're going from essentially full power to full fuel save, and that is how you can easily get caught out. Not just on the road courses, of course, but also ovals. It's extremely easy to get caught out like that. So unfortunately, that may have been what happened to Fredrickson, but he's rebounding. He's back up into 6th and trying to chase forward. Next stop will be Sam Blackwood, who qualified 5th, is in 5th, having a good run for Wyvern Racing, and I think just trying to hold on to that 5th for a while until some things can shake out. But we are...
Sorry.
Oh, continue.
Yeah, so you've got a lot of drivers on the reds right now, and the track is a little bit cooler, but the reds are still the softer compound. And if you guys are familiar with IndyCar compounds, the reds are the softer alternate compounds, the blacks are the primaries, which are the harder compound, but the reds do go off a little bit quicker than the blacks. So that might be something that is going on as well, which is why you see some people slipping back early on as the blacks get up to temperature and the reds really are into their zone right now. Ooh, as Oscar is trying to make a move on Connor Pearson here into turn 4, out of turn 4, sorry. But grid strategy will be a massive part in this race as well, because like I said a few times already, the track is really short, so the differences in lap time will be very small.
And that fall off may determine whether you choose to overcut or undercut. If the tires do tend to, if this were hotter today and there were more fall off, I think we'd see a lot of drivers trying to undercut their competition and get more performance out of those fresh tires. But because it is so cool, I don't think we're going to see quite that level of degradation. As such, we may see some drivers trying to really hang on to those tires for long stints. Now let's talk about that red and black tire strategy as we watch Oscar Fredrickson now on the hunt, trying to get Connor Pearson, now going to the outside on Connor in turn 3. That's a turn 4. That's a really risky move. I don't know. It's that's a tough decision to try to go to the outside there and take the position, but nevertheless, Connor responding and Oscar Fredrickson not able to pull that move off, now opening the door to Hugo Olsen. I said it before, but Hugo is not somebody that you would expect to just ride around in 10th on a road course like this. He's coming from 11th spot and already up into 7th. Hugo Olsen up 4 positions and trying to claim more. And I'll tell you who else is having a great race. Look at this. Mark Johnston now up 4 positions for drivedoctors.co.uk. So Johnston now bringing his machine forward into 8th and looking great today. Adam Gleason, though, not finding yet the success of his SMS teammates up front. Hanging out in 9th. That's where he qualified. That's where he's at now. But he's got to look in his rear view because there's Erica Lindstrom, who's gained 4 spots from where he qualified in 14th. So some drivers really coming forward quickly. Unfortunately for Anna Jarfi, this is not what she would want to see. There goes Jesper Orman trying to make the pass on the outside, not able to get it done. Unfortunately for Jarfi, qualifying up in 7th, now dropping back into 11th.
Oscar going side by side with Connor Pearson here into turn 4. Still going side by side, and he makes the position, Oscar does. So he is now ahead of Connor Pearson. Great battle for a few corners there, but Oscar takes that position away from Connor.
And now we watch Pearson side by side, my goodness, with Hugo Olsen. This is some great side by side battle here for the Prime Meridian Racing League in round 3. Didn't know we would see this much side-by-side racing here at the Red Bull Ring, but so far things are looking really great.
First taker for pit road as well. Connor Pearson trying to get rid of the blacks, I think.
Exactly. Connor Pearson, Sam Blackwood, his teammate, and Adam Gleason all coming down onto pit lane. So all these drivers with the black tires, Danny Brennan as well. Of course, you do have to use those black tires during the race. I just thought that they would want to stick it out for longer than 7 laps, but that must be the short stint that they need to do to get to the end of this one. And so they probably would have calculated that out. That being said, back up at the front, it is Will Lyon. He's used no push to pass. He's on the red tires. Things are looking good if you're the Lion out at the front of the Pride right now.
I like that one.
Thank you. We'll keep adding to that list as the season goes on. I said who can tame the Red Bull today, but I don't think anyone can tame the Lion. He's kind of marching to his own circus beat, if you will, out there in front. And Matthew Levine, his teammate, in 2nd place. These two look like they have it in control. Do they? Well, 9 laps in, we have no idea how this one's going to shake out. But so far, SMS Racing looking like they're controlling the front very well. Severi Seppa in 3rd place thus far. where he qualified, where he's running, showing his overall pace. I'll tell you what, Oscar Fredrickson slid all the way down to 7th from his 2nd place starting spot, but he has climbed all the way back now to 4th spot. So Fredrickson really on a tear here, but again, that rear view is getting filled with that yellow, I want to call it gold. It's in that family, but that beautiful yellow machine that you're so used to seeing here at the front end of the VirtualRacing.Network broadcast on Fixed Thursday, Championship Thursday, as well as recently here in the Prime Meridian Racing League on Wednesdays. Hugo Olsen looks like he has an absolute handful with that machine back there, but he has climbed from 11th up to 5th. So we'll see whether Fredrickson can tow fellow Swede Hugo Olsen behind up to the front. But these are the two drivers to watch thus far, as they are the movers and shakers thus far today. But
yeah,
you know
and Hugo really does like using the new updated tire model. He's really sliding his car around a lot. It's actually reminding me a lot of Pato O'Ward in real life. He really likes to slide those red tires and really load them up a lot. But that will wear them out a little bit quicker, but it might be the faster way around some of the tracks. But going through turn 9 here a little bit earlier, now into turn 3 again. Hugo really making up a lot of ground going into those corners, but he seems to be dropping back a little bit on the exit. So I think what his driving style really is to go in hard into the corner and then try to kind of drift your way out of it, if that makes sense. So it seems to be working for him though, so I'm not really complaining about it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be too great for the tires, but maybe he knows something about the temperatures and conditions that we don't know. But he is up 6 positions from where he started, same as Mark Johnson, and Erke Lindstrom is the biggest mover in the race at the moment, up 7 into P7. So they're all making moves, and the Red Bull Ring, with the short and fast track it is providing a great race for us tonight.
Absolutely providing a great, it's what we want to see. Maybe we have to make Oscar and Hugo start from the back every race, just make them come forward. We're watching from on board with our visor cam here for Hugo Olsen, just sliding these tires around. And it's funny that you would mention Pato O'Ward. There could not be a more relevant comparison. Pato just loves sliding the car around to the point where the announcers during the real IndyCar broadcasts are just flabbergasted that he likes it that loose. But I'll tell you another great driver who loved that car loose. It was Juan Pablo Montoya. He after jumping in that car after Alex Zanardi leaving for Formula One, he would just blow everybody's minds with how much he loved the slip angle on that tire. And yet he accomplished great things, winning the championship, many races, and going over to Formula One, and of course winning quite a few races there as well. Wow, Olsen really getting crossed up there. I don't think he won it quite that loose though, Julian.
Yeah, I think he's pushing the boundaries of his car's capabilities here, but it's great to watch though.
Certainly great for all of us to watch, and watch these amazingly talented sim racing superstars hang on to these Dallara IR-18 IndyCars, which are just an absolute handful, even in the best of times. But maybe when the setup is not quite hanging on the way that you would like, as it can be in a fixed series like this, then you definitely have more than your hands full. That's for sure. It takes 2 hands to handle the whopper in this case. So back here in 12th, we got a great race going on. Sam Blackwood, after making the pit stop, following Daniel Dinsdale and Connor Pearson just behind, teammate to Sam Blackwood, who is about 4 seconds ahead. So we watch that group as they have already made their pit stops, and somewhere out there, I think it's Gail H is asking for that track map to show up. There you go. Now you can follow on your screen with where your favorite drivers are at. And also, let's take a look at this battle going on between in 7th place with Anna Jorfi and Erika Lindstrom just behind. Erika up 6 spots, and Jorfi exactly where she qualified now that a few of the drivers have made some pit stops. So we'll see how this tire strategy works out. Jorfi on those black tires, trying to stretch this stint out, possibly ride out those black tires. last time by doing a 1:15.69 and her fastest lap a 1:15.46. So not much fall off there whatsoever. And at 1:15.69, she's almost, in fact, she's on pace with third place Severi Seppa at a 1:15.63. So this is some interesting strategy we're seeing with the black tires, and Anna getting some really good pace out of those tires right now, able to keep up with the red tires and certainly able to stay ahead of, at the moment, Erica Lindstrom there in 8th place. So good things happening for Anna despite initial setback, but really gathering it back together and getting some good pace out of those black tires.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Anna is now into P7. She actually got by Erica Lindstrom there a moment ago. But going back to those tires where Anna is running on the primaries, we also have David Saranzo and Andreas Eich in the top 11 running on those primaries. And I really saw Oscar slide out of turn 1 as well just a moment ago. So I think the Reds are actually falling off quite a bit by now. So I think the Blacks are definitely the faster compound at the moment, because they seem to be the most stable as well, for Anna now being on pace for on pace with Severi Seppa there for P3 in P3, sorry. So the pace really coming towards those black primary tires, and the Reds seem to be falling off. So it's going to be interesting to see whether these guys that are still running on those Reds, if they want to come in and maybe go to the primaries earlier than they would have liked, to maybe shake up their strategy some more.
It will be interesting to see how this plays out. That's all I can say. I love watching these races because you just never know. But there's Oscar Fredrickson in 4th, holding off Hugo Olsen, and they're trying to chase down Severi Seppa now for 3rd. And Severi's holding tight with doing great lap times. Unfortunately, starting to fall off. Let's see if we can get the lap time history up there so you can see. So there you can see, we'll actually take a look the other way, and you can see Fredrickson starting to chip into that lap, into those laps of Seppa, each and every lap faster. So it's just a matter of time at this pace before we see the Oscar Fredrickson, the Swedish freight train, show up at the finish driver's back door. But it is coming. You can see it there in your picture just at the back of the screen. So any moment now we will have a fight for that position. And just behind, again, you want to see another driver who's having a great day. Let's look at Mark Johnston. He's not that far back from Hugo Olsen and Oscar Fredrickson, but currently just doing great laps there, even faster than Chorfi behind that last lap. And so Johnston really closing in and possibly looking at a top 5 today. We will see about that one. And go back.
Long race though.
It's still, exactly, it's still a long race to go. We got 40 more laps to do and lots of pit stops yet to go. Fredrickson's pulled out a tiny gap. Wow. Just, I mean, we've got to watch Hugo Olsen. This is some, for those of you that like to see a little bit of counter steering going on, letting that rear end step out a little bit, this should be a real treat for you. Let's go on board with Hugo Olsen and watch a lap around Red Bull Ring. Just hear that oversteer start in turn 1. Those RPMs hit their maximum and come back down. Usually for me, that's a fear factor. Nearly locking up into turn 4. Really having to correct out as he gets back onto the throttle. Trying to chase down Oscar Fredrickson for that 4th position. He was really letting it get out of line here in this section last lap. It looks like Hugo's maybe reeling it a little bit back in right now. But Hugo on the hunt, on the march, trying to hang fast laps and see if he can get up there and somehow make a dent into this Will Lyon lead. Again, these Will Lyon and Hugo Olsen tied for first place in the championship standings right now. So every position will be absolutely crucial to Hugo trying to, he's going to have to get through also Matthew Levine, the tail gunner there for Will Lyon for SMS Racing. So good stuff as this battle continues to rage on between Olsen and Fredrickson. They try and make their way forward. In the meantime, as you can still see there on your screen, it's, nobody has made pit stops yet out of the top 11 drivers. So this is definitely splitting the field in terms of their strategy. And right now we're looking back at Daniel Dinsdale, the first driver to have made a stop. Let's see here if we go back and take a look at him. He's only 34 seconds behind Will Lyon at the moment. Now, Lyon is doing a 15.45. Levine did a 15.15 that last time by. Dinsdale a 15.27. And Sam Blackwood a 15.44. So now we're starting to see the drivers on those fresh tires really able to do slightly faster laps than the front runners. And we'll have to see how this works out in that gap from the first back to Daniel Dinsdale. So continuing to develop pit strategies, a split strategy throughout the field. SMS Racing even choosing to split their strategy. Whose race will it end up being at the end? We have no idea, and that's the best place you want to be coming up to a third of the way through the race. Fun stuff here at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, definitely. So we are a few laps away from the pit window. Like you mentioned early on in the beginning of the broadcast, this is a new track to broadcast for both of us. So we don't really know the fuel numbers, but if we're going to compare similar track lengths, then we should see pit stops in about 5-6 laps at the latest. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on, because we got Anna Giorfi and at the moment David Saranzo and Andreas Eich on the primaries. So we talked about their tires being a little bit more consistent over the run at this stage in the race. So it's going to be key for them to make up ground right now, because they have to run the red, the Firestone alternates later on in the race. Whether the track is going to be cooler or hotter at that stage all depends on the cloud cover. But if we're looking at the time of day, it's 15 minutes to 11, so 45 past 10. The track will be getting hotter quite a bit as the day goes on. So really, they have to keep an eye on the temperatures as much as possible to really optimize their red tire stint.
Well, and up to 24 degrees Celsius now. It's not at the point where you'd want to really worry about it, but possibly by race end, we may come up another 4 degrees or so, and that will be a substantial gain from the beginning of the race. I think definitely it will favor the drivers that choose to be on those black tires at the end. So making the decision to start and do your first stint on black tires may not be the best.
Sorry, Trevor, but Oscar and Hugo Olsen just made contact in turn 4 a moment ago, and Oscar has spun around and he's on the voice chat. I'm not hearing what he's saying because I have it muted, but I would imagine he's not very happy about that.
Well, let's go back and take a look at a couple of these notes here. Yes, indeed. Let's look at Oscar Fredrickson just a moment ago. That's Connor Pearson. Unfortunately, wrong note. We'll go back to that. Connor Pearson having a moment. Here is Hugo Olsen trying very late to make that move. And you saw it there. We're seeing a number of more notes happening here, so we don't want to miss any live coverage, but they're coming in too fast for me. Here we go. We'll go back to this move again. And there, Oscar Fredrickson getting spun. Let's go take a look at it from Hugo Olsen's point of view, perhaps. See if we can tell what happened. It looks like Fredrickson may be a little slow through the corner, but nevertheless doing some damage, I believe, to Olsen's front wing as well. And now he's fallen back through the order, having made his first stop now in 10th place. So I'm not sure. We'll let the stewards decide that one and how it went down, but nevertheless, those two making contact. Now we've got our leader, Will Lyon, into the pits as well. And that will turn over the race lead eventually to Erica Lindstrom, assuming that Erica does not come into the pits. But we've got another 19 seconds to go until Erica is going to be circulating back around to find that one out.
Erica's in the pits. Jasper Orman almost ran into the back of Erica there coming into the pits. But the previous lap we had a lot of takers, so doing a bit of an undercut on the guys ahead. So let's see where these guys, Erica, Will Lyon, and Jasper Orman, are going to come out in relation to the drivers that just pitted a lap ago.
Well, indeed. And so we've got the track map up there for you to watch on your screen. We're going to take a look back here in just a moment at a moment ago from Connor Pearson going off track. Definitely out through the dirt and really getting sideways, then spinning and into the fence, possibly, yes, breaking the car. So that now towing back to the pits. Unfortunately, Connor Pearson's day not done necessarily, but going to be massively negatively affected. Going to have to wait there on pit road for repairs. As we see side by side with Erica Lindstrom and Mark Johnston, just as Erica comes out of the pits, got to deal with a hard charging Mark, and Mark so close side by side as they continue here through turn 4, and Erica prevails there, able to make that pass. So Erica going out through the dust, and now Johnston looks to try to take that place back, and Johnston rubs off what appeared to be the front side of his wing, but perhaps it got reset. Perhaps that was just a little bit of net code. I'm not sure if that actually affected Johnston, but on this side it appeared as though it knocked off part of the front wing, but able to hold there with Lindstrom, and Johnson has now got Oscar Fredrickson right on that bumper. Will Fredrickson make the move? There he goes down the inside on Johnston. Fredrickson's done this a couple of times today and pulled it off successfully, but Johnston holding tight on the outside, able to keep that car going. We're side by side here. Who will be the first one to lift? And looks like Fredrickson willing to momentarily lift there into turn 4. So now these three spacing out a little bit on track. That hands over the lead now to David Soranzo, and he's now into the pits. And so that will officially make everybody who will have pitted today. So Will Lyon, now after the pit stop cycle, resumes again in your lead on lap 23. So Will Lyon and SMS teammates Matthew Levine, Daniel Dinsdale now in third place with that alternate pit strategy. SMS Racing 1, 2, 3 on track at the moment, and that, I believe, is a new record for them. 3 cars all on podium positions during the race. Nevertheless, Sam Blackwood, you saw his teammate Connor Pearson having a moment just a little bit ago, but Blackwood has now climbed up into 4th, gained a spot on the day, and looking solid. Hugo Olsen had a moment just not long ago with Oscar Fredrickson. He was chasing very closely and perhaps clipped Fredrickson, sending Fredrickson around, but Hugo Olsen now trying that back of the pack to the front march, up 6 spots into 5th spot today so far. We're still not even halfway yet, so we'll see where he can get to today. Severi Seppa with 3 Crowns Racing with IAR making his debut on VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the PMRL today, up into 6th. And Adam Gleason, the other SMS teammate, there in 7th as well. So that makes SMS now 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 7th. And it's a pretty good day to be in those SMS blue and black colors. I can tell you that for certain.
Blue looks pretty on the cars, though, I have to say. Not biased.
It does. And I notice a lot of blue over there at Velocity Online Racing. Is that Manuel Gomez Esteban? I believe it is. Yes, getting out of the way for the other drivers. Gomez Esteban did make the start. Great to see him out there. Again, we see him over in the US IndyCar League all the time, each week. 99% oval track league. And so, as you mentioned, he's very much part of the oval racing group that seems to master these cars on the ovals, but then has to extend it out onto the road courses. So he's trying to get some more experience here today, and just trying to do, you know, the whole just hang on till the end and maybe you'll luck into a top 10 sort of driving strategy for certain. David Soranzo in 14th. He's gained a spot today. Again, not really seeing the pace out of him that we saw last season, but perhaps there's still time to gain some more spots and gain a little bit more pace as he gets right up on the back end of Andreas Eick for Team Talent. And Eick, I have to say, probably struggling here in 13th. He's still putting in good laps, 1:15.34 his fastest lap, 1:16.45. But this just really isn't where we're used to seeing Andreas Eick. Of course, he also used to most of the time being able to be in those open series where he can use his own setup, and perhaps this setup not exactly gelling well with him today. But nevertheless, Ike still fighting it out. Last season's third place finisher in the championship, having to really fight an uphill battle here in 14th.
Yeah, definitely not the season he has hoped for, at least the start of the season. You know, we've mentioned this at Gateway. Ike is a very talented driver, and he's very hungry to get group results as well. So I have no doubt that he will improve over the course of this season. His results, that is. I have to correct myself there, but yeah, this is not where he wants to be, and I'm sure that he's working to get that, to get those results improved as soon as possible. But going to Sam Blackwood now, who is in P3 at the moment after some more pit cycles played out with Dinsdale pitting. Blackwood was one of the first cars to pit from the primaries to get rid of those and go onto the reds. And in doing so, he has actually got a massive undercut on all the guys around him to move himself up into P3. So he gained a lot of track position in doing that early on in the race.
Oh, we apologize. Our software appears to have gone on holiday, so we'll just have to keep manually filling you in, since seems to be the only way that we can do it here on broadcast. It's so great to be doing this live broadcast with you here, Julian. We do have iRacing in the background, so we can at least cover the video picture. And we can tell everybody manually, and we're back in the 1940s doing coverage here. So Will Lyon, your leader, with Matthew Levine second and Sam Blackwood in third, and Hugo Olsen in fourth, Severi Seppa in fifth, Erica Lindstrom into sixth, Mark Johnson. Oh, and just like that, there the software decides to pop back up. Thank you to SDK. Really pleased with the software today. Here we go, continuing. Daniel Dinsdale there in 12th place with Andreas Eick in 13th. Manuel Gomez Esteban, as I mentioned before, hanging out in 15th, and Gleason in 14th after that pit stop. So Gleason now with Dinsdale, his SMS Racing teammate, the only two drivers to have stopped a second time on schedule. I can see that Danny Brennan appears to be out of the car now, so that number would be errant. But so that will be interesting to see whether or not that strategy from these drivers is going to play a role here at the end, because we did see Dinsdale get all the way up there into third with his alternate fuel strategy. So we'll have to see if he can continue that, as I mentioned here, and end up on the podium potentially in this race. Hugo Olsen is in podium place at the moment in third, and up 8 spots. So he'll be looking to, as I mentioned before, try to creep his way up there, possibly into second, or challenge first, as he is tied for the race, or for the championship lead. And what did we just see from Sam Blackwood? We just cut to Sam Blackwood on pit lane as he was exiting the pits. Let's just back that up. Something has happened and Blackwood is stopped in the exit of pit lane. Let's see if we can go from on board. Just gets a lot of wheel spin, and now this terrible situation where there's no real way to get turned around. Sam Blackwood stuck on pit road with no way to get that Wyvern car turned around, has to exit the car and tow back to the pits. What an unfortunate circumstance. No words to really describe the heartbreak that Blackwood would be feeling right now, just falling out of the top 5 and having such a difficult moment. And Julian, I've had that exact same thing happen to me. You make the same pit out 100 times in a row, and then it just seems like in the race, for whatever reason, you do a pit stop, you come back out, and either you've made the wrong, you haven't updated your adjustments in the car or something. But I had this happen at Laguna Seca. I was just doing a normal pit stop. I go to exit out the pits, and all of a sudden I get wheel spin where I've never had it before. So I don't know if that is a bug or what, but you do always have to watch your throttle input anytime you go full throttle with fresh tires. So unfortunately, catching Blackwood out, and Blackwood now still currently sitting still on pit road. But we cut back to the leader, Will Lyon, in first, with a 3.8 second lead over Matthew Levine, Hugo Olsen in third, Severi Seppa in fourth, and Mark Johnston up into fifth. And so we are just coming up to halfway. You're watching VirtualRacing.Network's live uninterrupted coverage of round 3, the Red Bull Ring. Additional support for the Prime Meridian Racing League this season coming from Majors Garage. You can head over there to Majors Garage and get setups for your Dallara IR-18 for the entire official IndyCar season, and as well as a number of other vehicles, pretty much every single vehicle getting setups over at Majors Garage. So definitely check that out. I personally am running in one of the Majors competitions, the M-Tech Series, with my team, Last Lap Motorsports. We're having a great time. We were just out there at Motegi this last Saturday, so that was a lot of fun. And then also additional support coming from Vopsy iRacing Paints. If you need a paint scheme designed for your car, certainly a lot of experience designing cars for Three Crowns Racing. If you love this, we'll get over to actually, I like Jesper Orman's paint scheme. He's running right now in 13th spot, the Three Crowns Racing with IAR driver, but that beautiful metallic gold color really shining in the sun, juxtaposed to that dark blue, ultimately the colors of the Swedish flag. But if that kind of thing works for you and you need a great paint scheme for your car, just head on over to Vopsy's Instagram and let her know, and she'll be able to work you something together for sure. Always great to be able to thank those that are helping out the series. Of course, Jessica Sabin, the Prime Meridian Racing League admin, as well as Joshua, Vilda Wallen, they all do fantastic jobs stewarding each and every week and listening to everybody's complaints and concerns and trying to make this league better each week in and out. And they do a fantastic job, and so our salute to them. As well as you, Julian. You joined us this season. You've been bringing great things, so thank you very much. I know we don't have the millions of dollars that we would love to be able to pay you here, but but you're doing a fantastic job in building that great resume of broadcasting, along with everything else that you're doing with Velocity Online Racing, which a number of these drivers are a part of or affiliated with as well. So you're doing a great job. Thanks, Julian.
Thank you too. That's so nice of you. I'm almost crying. No, just kidding.
Well, you work for it, and these drivers work for it. You know, I'll tell you something else that I saw. You know who I saw out there practicing on track, putting in the hours? Will Lyon. He was there in each one of the official practices from the PMRL, and that's not to throw anything at the people who can't make it out there, but I'm just letting you know that there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to be able to get out there and get these championships and get these wins. And you know, we do a lot of work here at VirtualRacing.Network behind the scenes to try to make it better presentation for everybody, of course upgrading different aspects. And you know, you and I, Julian, we spend all of about 15 minutes trying to prep for the show, so we put in a little bit of work as well. But in addition, I mean, the admins behind the scenes, Joshua especially, he's not really the front man out there. Jessica, she's out there talking a lot more officially and doing a lot of the social media and stuff like that. But Joshua puts in a lot of time as well, and so does Vilda. And it's just great to be able to... And Vilda's a great racer, and so is Joshua and Jessica in their own right. So always, you know, everybody makes these time commitments for sure to be able to put on a great show with the PMRL, and I truly thank them. I know you do, and so we're just really thankful that all these competitors, everybody can come together. I'll stop droning on now, but I did want to say thank you to everybody who participates. So back to the race here. Will Lyon leading. Got Matthew Levine, his teammate, just 3.5 seconds back. And Hugo Olsen in third, up 8 spots. Did have contact earlier with Oscar Fredrickson. We will await final word from the stewards as to how that will be seen. But in the meantime, doing everything that he needs to do to hold on and hopefully be able to still challenge Will Lyon for that top spot. Severi Seppa having a great race in his debut. Finish driver now in 4th spot, and we do see Matthew Levine choosing to come into the pits. So this will be the first of the front runners at the moment who has opted to do so, and Hugo Olsen now just behind, coming in on the same lap. So now we're going to get a chance to see the final part of this fuel strategy really work itself out. Who will have to take the most fuel? Who's going to take their black tires at the end of this stint? We know that Will Lyon is on his black tires, Oscar Fredrickson on black tires, Anna Giorfi still on black tires, as Anna is now shown up into 5th. So back up at the front, looking at Will Lyon, a 14-second gap over Severi Seppa, but just 33 to Dinsdale. So if Dinsdale can manage to clip a couple more seconds off of Will Lyon's times, we might see Dinsdale up there racing with his teammate for first position. We'll see as this all cycles through, but hey, there's Oscar Fredrickson back up into 3rd. Unfortunately, he's going to have to make a pit stop with the rest of them.
Yeah, it didn't really go his way already right from the get-go when he, we assume at least, went into map 8, down the long straight up to turn 3. Then he got spun around by Hugo Olsen as well, so that didn't really help his race either. But he's doing well to recover from that before everybody pitted for the pit cycles. He was up into P5, so I think he is still on for a very good result. Definitely top 5 if he can keep going like this. He might even be able to get away with the podium, depending on mistakes from other people. But of course, the race is still long. We are just over halfway into it now. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens as the race goes on. But I think at the moment, for Oscar Fredrickson, it's looking very well at the moment. And at the moment, I have to say about Will Lyon as well, a very good performance by him. Actually, he's dominating this race at the moment. Just a great pace set by him early on in this race as well, and he keeps doing so as well. So like you mentioned, putting in the practice, and it's for sure paying off for him.
Got to put in those hours. It's unfortunate, but when you've got a series this competitive, I mean, you're talking about Will Lyon, 4,400 road I rating, Severi Seppa 5,473, Adam Gleason 5,900, Hugo Olsen 4,600 I rating. I mean, that's basically at the top end. I don't have the exact numbers, but whenever you look at those graphs of how many people hold I ratings higher than say 3,000, it is a very sharp cliff. Very, very few drivers making their road rating above 4,000, let alone 5,000, but multiple drivers above 4,000, 5,000 iRating in this series. Andreas Eick, 5,100. Eric Lindstrom, 4,300. It just goes on and on. It's you have to put in those hours out there grinding and grinding and grinding to find those tenths of a second, and get your consistency to the point where you can do it lap in and lap out. And that's really, not everybody needs to do 100 laps of practice to get there. Some drivers, you know, like this track, I did my first laps here last night just to see how it was, and I've done so many laps on this track in an F1 car, I could have done it blindfolded easily. But whenever you show up to a new track, especially if it's a newer car, you're not familiar with the setup, you really do have to familiarize yourself with that and push the limits. And so when we do see those practices and each official practice, again, led by Will Lyon or various teammates, it's not a surprise to see out here on race day getting qualified P1, racing and dominating the race in P1, and of course wearing that #1 car with honor out there. It's just not a surprise. And until we see other drivers necessarily putting in that level of dedication, and being able to practice as much and be there for each and every one of those sessions, it's going to be Will Lyon's championship for somebody to try to come along and take.
Yeah, don't forget that you still have a few ovals on the schedule as well, though. So it's not all road courses. So those ovals, we talked about this in Gateway. Those ovals, very much a luck factor. So it could either swing your way or it could swing the complete opposite way and completely ruin your season. So keep an eye for those ovals as well. I believe we're going to Indy, Texas, and a few other tracks as well. So it's going to be interesting for those tracks. Very high-speed ovals, of course. We consider them super speedways, really, 1.5 miles or bigger. So those tracks can for sure shake up the championship battle.
Well, let's take a look real quick at the schedule since you mentioned it. Our next race will be at Spa-Francorchamps, a very classic Formula One circuit, and produces brilliant racing, great drafting down that main straightaway for sure. It'll be a lot of fun there. Indianapolis 250 coming up after that, and two more ovals following that, not consecutively, but towards the end of the season. Texas Motor Speedway and the Pocono 250. Very different tracks. Indianapolis, Pocono, and Texas, they really couldn't be much more different from one another, but we'll look forward to seeing that later on this season. And as you mentioned, kind of as we go to black, well, don't worry, we'll come back. Go, just pushing the wrong button. But as you mentioned, it not only gives some of these oval drivers a real chance to come back into their own, and hopefully open up that ability for them to be, you know, competitive on those ovals, but also really just showcases the fact that you have to be a fully well-rounded driver to win in IndyCars. We see Mark Johnston now coming in from 3rd place. Anna Jorfi, by the way, in 2nd, who was on your screen for quite a few laps there as we were covering other stuff. But Johnston coming in, and yeah, you have to be a balanced IndyCar driver. You have to be able to do both types of circuits to win the real-life IndyCar Championship, even though it's mostly become road courses. Ultimately, the ideal I think everybody would like to have is much more balance of ovals and road courses if it were possible. So they're bringing back Iowa, bringing back other races for next season, and potentially going forward. So I think it just makes sense that PMRL is pretty well equally split and gives that opportunity to road course and oval drivers. But again, Will Lyon coming out saying, oh, I don't know what I'm doing at Gateway. I don't know how to race ovals. He still showed very, very well on track, and we'll see whether he has anything for these other oval masters like Oscar and Jesper, and certainly Hugo, going forward with the remaining oval races of the season. Nevertheless, that he's doing it here, and that's what you got to do at the tracks where you are most comfortable and you have the best confidence in, those are the tracks where you especially need to succeed. You can't afford, if you're a road course racer with LMP1 championships like Will Lyon, I mean, the time to take off is not the road course at A1 Ring, almost called it the wrong name, Red Bull Ring, or Spa-Francorchamps, because those are your bread and butter. There's a good chance that Will would be very familiar with Spa-Francorchamps next week. So again, you can't take any weeks off, but certainly if you're a road course master for Will Lyon, this is the week that you need to come out and dominate, because this is the one you can count on. And there he is into the pits, following Manuel Gomez Esteban in. You saw how much ground he was able to gain on Gomez Esteban, and that's just all about getting those in laps and getting down to that pit speed limiter at exactly the right time and exactly the right speed. So Lyon in, and his teammate Matthew Levine still finding his way around the track, having made that second stop a while ago. Still not able to quite pass Will on pit lane yet. And Will is back out on track, so as we wait for the two to kind of join up, it looks like Will Lyon will keep that lead over Matthew Levine by 5.6 seconds. And Will came in 7 laps sooner, so I don't think Will can make it to the end. I think he's on a strategy where he's going to have to do a short fill on the final stint.
Actually, the first on the first stint, the car that stayed out the longest, I believe it was Orman. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, please. But he did 25 laps on the tank, so it is possible, but you really have to save a lot of fuel. So yeah, I'm just basing this off the first stint. It is possible. It will be very difficult to do. So I think that's what Will is trying to go for here. 25 laps to go. That is. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that. But I did notice him also coming out of the pits. Sam Blackwood.
Are you seeing Hugo Olsen, or has he disconnected? I'm seeing him dropping
Oh
off
yeah, he
now.
disconnected. Yeah, the sim disconnected due to incoming packet loss.
Well, there's an unfortunate new turn of events, and I guess it won't matter what the post-race penalties are, because Hugo Olsen unfortunately suffering a connection issue, and that can plague anybody at any time. So unfortunate to lose a competitor due to that. But I just noticed him as we were on board. It switched back to that scenic camera, which usually means that somebody is disconnected from the server. So that's unfortunate. I apologize for cutting you off, but that's a big turn of events for who was running in a podium position.
Yeah, completely understandable. So no worries about that. But yeah, just a massive shame. He was doing a very decent race until that moment. Didn't really have the strongest qualifying results, and he was doing well to make up some ground, but unfortunately, like you said, disconnected, and it's just unfortunate that it goes that way sometimes. But going back to what I was saying, I noticed Will Lyon go extremely careful out of the pits. We saw Sam Blackwood spin there earlier in the race, so I could hear Will Lyon going very low on the RPMs in second gear on the pit exit. So he wants to ensure that he doesn't make the same mistake and potentially ruin that race result that he is on track to get, quite literally. There you go. Oscar wanted me to say that, so I did it.
So the Lion is leading the Pride here for SMS Racing. 1, 2, 3. Will Lyon that time fastest lap of the race. So if you were saying that he's on a fuel save, I'm not seeing it. He's also used a lot of his push to pass. I wasn't watching how fast Will was using it, but he's down to just 3 pushes now. So I'm just going to say I don't think he's on a fuel save. Tough to tell. We'll have to watch his lap times, but he definitely appears to be stepping on the gas at this point. So perhaps he doesn't think he can make it, and he's going to come in for a splash and go anyway. This is interesting stuff, because should that happen, let's just do some quick numbers here. But we've got Dan Dinsdale, who's only 11 seconds back. He's going to need to make his final stop. Matthew Levine won't be able to make it without another stop. Who else? We've got Jesper Orman. No, he came in on lap 28. So Erica Lindstrom, 1 minute and 3 seconds back, would be the first car who has basically made a stop that would get him to the end. So that won't be a threat to Will Lyon. But I'm just trying to see if anybody else... I don't think anybody else is in a position to take advantage of the fact that Will Lyon may run out. I just don't think anybody has pitted in the last few laps that would be able to do that. Nevertheless, we'll follow along and try and shake this strategy out. I don't know if everybody was running fuel numbers ahead of time or not, because it just really seems like people are going to have to short stint at the end. But 22 laps to go. We will find out. Will Lyon leads here at the Red Bull Ring, round 3. And he's still hanging it out, going quite wide there on exit, and that time by a 14.74. So faster than everybody else on track. Will Lyon still continuing to get it done. Meanwhile, Matthew Levine, number 69 car there for SMS Racing, just 9.3 seconds back. And Dan Dinsdale, 2.6 seconds adrift of Levine. Oscar Fredrickson now up into 4th, just 2 spots shy of where he qualified. So one of those great salvage days for Fredrickson, and he no longer has to worry about Olsen, so possibly still has a shot at a podium here. Find that one out. Severi Seppa back into 5th. Sorry we don't have Severi's livery quite worked out this week. We'll get it sorted for next week for sure. But racing with the Three Crowns Racing with IAR team. Take a look at 6th spot. It's Adam Gleason, also SMS Racing teammate. So just doing everything he can to get SMS. I mean, this is just crazy what SMS is able to do. Again, these are fixed setups. This is not like SMS has the best setup out there, and that's why they're doing so well. It's that these drivers are really sharing good information back and forth on how to maximize the fixed setup provided by the league, and they are just able to get themselves practically all up into the top 5. So that is some amazing teamwork there between those drivers. Anna Jorfi here as Daniel Dinsdale for SMS Racing making his final stop. So we'll see whether his strategy can get him back up onto that podium. It's very likely by the end of this one that we will see Dan Dinsdale back up there. But Jorfi on your screen now, racing for 89 Motorsports. We were talking about it, just having a great race. Certainly a lot more pace here than at Road America, our last road course race. And Anna is only 34 seconds back of the leader after 40 plus laps here, 45 laps. That's a great place to be. So for Jorfi to be looking at a top 5 potentially today, definitely some, when we're checking off those milestones of where you want to be in the PMRL as you go on, it's definitely, if you're looking at top 5 by race 3, you've got a chance at a podium or possibly a race win by the end of the season for sure. So Mark Johnston, as I mentioned, of 5 spots in 7th place, having also a fabulous run today. And also Dan Dinsdale just behind for SMS Racing after coming out of the pits. So back into that 8th spot where he qualified. That is not where he will finish, I'm sure. Adam Gleason now into the pits for SMS Racing. And we'll go back to that live shot as we can see Dinsdale with Orman just behind. This may turn into a battle in front of us. I'll wait to find out. Orman, as you mentioned, having a really great race today for a predominantly oval driver who's really trying to make his way on road courses. He's up into 8th, gained a couple of spots, and staying ahead of David Soranzo, who's actually was a great road course racer last season. not quite finding the pace this season, but so far 6 spots gained for Soranzo for NSH and up into the 9th spot. So these drivers all still working really hard out there, trying to throw their might at it. Here's Gleason for SMS Racing, having just made a final stop on lap 46 and trying to drive the end of this one out. So as far as tires go, it's your top 3 drivers on red tires. Will Lyon, Matthew Levine, and Oscar Fredrickson. And then Anna Jorfi and Severi Seppa also on black tires. Orman now making his way into the pits, not able to overtake. And so Orman coming in for his final stop as well to see if he needs to switch to the black tires or whether he'll be taking reds as well. And Soranzo manages to get by on track, as does Gleason and Erica Lindstrom.
I just saw in chat Sam Black would say get a move on. I think that is directed towards Andreas Eick in front of him. Is that Andreas Eick or is it the lap car in front of him that's in the way? I'm not really sure about that, but he's telling somebody to get a move on, so clearly feels like he's getting held up there a little bit.
Blackwood shown a lap down, and is that that's Soranzo who's directly in front of him at the moment.
Oh yeah, sorry, I did not see that he was a lap down because I was following him, so the name was all white.
But
sorry.
A frustrating day for the Wyvern teammates, both Connor Pearson and Sam Blackwood. Of course, Blackwood and Pearson both qualifying up towards the top 5, and having a good race in the beginning, but separate incidents affecting both of these 2 drivers from Wyvern Racing. And this is big in the team championship news as well, because these are well, there's only 3 drivers in the series for Wyvern at the moment, and as you see Blackwood into the pits, if they're falling out and SMS Racing is getting drivers into the top 3 podium positions, it's going to be really, really difficult to overtake them in the team championship and get those tattoos at the end of the season. But you know, anything can happen. It's anybody's battle. Andreas Eick just ahead of where Sam Blackwood was in 12th place, trying to hang on. Again, not really getting the type of performance that he got last season. Maybe that new tire update just not really a good friend to Andreas Eick this season, but not able to overtake necessarily, and not really able to move forward today, having lost. Actually, he's gained 1 spot today, but there's been numerous drivers who have had unfortunate races as well, so being able to take advantage of that. But Eick is one of those drivers that you just can't count out week in, week out. It's just certainly, it's one of those things. It just matters how do you connect with that setup each and every week. But Will Lyon, we've been saying it all day, saying it all season, up in front. It's got 12.5 seconds over teammate Matthew Levine, and Matthew Levine now with 16 seconds over Oscar Fredrickson. So Will Lyon basically has an entire pit stop gap over 3rd place at this point. And all 3 of these drivers, I'm just going to guess, are going to have to come in for a final pit stop. I mean, certainly the one that's in the best place as far as the fuel goes is Will Lyon, but we saw him doing he set his fastest lap of the race on the very first lap of this stint, and since then has been staying in the 15s, low 15s, been basically the fastest driver out on track. So that being said, did Hugo just set the fastest lap? I think so. Lap time history, there you see it on your screen. A couple of cut corners affecting lap 41 and 42, but Hugo responds as he has done with in the past with a fantastic in-lap, a 1:13.6 in the race, and that is in fact slightly faster than Will Lyon's fastest lap that he set at the beginning of the stint, a 1:13.76. So Olsen doing his fastest lap at the end of the stint, and I guess he managed to reconnect and jump back in the car and just trying to maybe get a point for that fast lap after losing all of those positions. Really unfortunate for the Powerslide Motorsports driver.
Yeah, and I was just gonna bring that up actually, but you just answered my question right there if there was a point for fast lap. So what I think Hugo Olsen was trying to do here is at least take that fastest lap point away from Will Lyon, because remember, going into this race they were tied on points. So those two drivers are the main championship contenders, at least going into this one. So what he could have done was just take that fastest lap point away to at least take that 1 point away, because at the end of the season we all know how tight the IndyCar point system is in all of those races. You know, it can swing from one way to another in 2 to 3 races. So taking away those points could be crucial towards the end of the season. So I think that is the main thought process for Hugo Olsen there, to take that one fastest lap point away from Will Lyon.
For sure. I mean, I think we went back and looked at it, and Hugo led the most laps last race at Gateway. And
Will's in the pits, by the way.
Oh, Will Lyon is into the pits, yes indeed. As is Andreas Ike, and so we'll watch them as they pit. And Matthew Levine also coming into the pits on this lap as well. So, but because of the fact that Hugo Olsen got all of those bonus points last week and kept Will Lyon from getting those bonus points, he managed to tie Will Lyon. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in a tie with Will Lyon. It's certainly, if Will Lyon hadn't had Hugo Olsen as a competitor out there and managed to get the win and take all those bonus points, he would be in a much more comfortable lead over Hugo there in second. So basically, those bonus points are absolutely crucial. Race in and race out, and if you can't get the final result that you want on the track, hey, even just cleaning up, getting fastest lap, that could come back to really help you at the end of the season, as it's obvious that Hugo, even if he had wanted to in this race, starting from as far back as he did, trying to work forward, there was no way he was going to lead the most laps, which is an additional bonus point. And he didn't get the bonus point for qualifying on the pole position either. So the only way that he could steal a point would be to get that fastest lap, and he's done so. We'll look to see whether will try to respond at the end of this one, as Will is in fact on the red tires again. He has 3 pushes to pass remaining. So we'll see. We'll put the sectors up there and see whether Will is going to try something fancy here with 13 laps to go. But meanwhile, second place on your screen is Anna Jorfi. If you've been following along with her story, she's been hanging out on those black tires and getting great pace, very consistent lap times, and indeed we are seeing Will Lyon now on the button. So using that push to pass, he's got 2 pushes to pass left, trying to put in a fast lap, possibly take the Grand Slam here this week of the fastest lap, most laps led, pole position, and the win. But thus far not able to get even a green first sector. We'll watch the second sector and see if that improves. But as I was mentioning, Anna Jorfi having a great race up there. 5 positions gained. Currently sitting in second spot. And she is looking great for her race today. Will Lyon there putting in a green second sector. We'll go on board for the end of this one and see if he can manage to clip that time from Hugo Olsen. Neither one of those first 2 sectors in the purple goes out so wide there. We were talking about off limits and track limits here. It's really difficult to tell exactly where the track limits are. There you see a purple final sector, a 1:13.70 on my timing and scoring, but that is not fast enough to take the fastest lap away from Hugo Olsen, a 1:13.62. So Will Lyon now using that push to pass, and you can see another green sector, an 18.0. So fastest first sector, but he's out of push to pass. Not so much of a problem for the third sector on this track, but we'll see whether that's a factor here in the second one. This would be
Sorry there, Trevor, but I was just looking at the lap times for Will Lyon there. So you did say that his last lap time was a 1 minute 13.7, which is actually faster than his best time, but it did not update to his best time on the SDK timing and scoring, at least on my screen. So perhaps there was some off track somewhere where the lap didn't count. So he's got to be careful for this off tracks. You've got track limits here in turns 9 and 10 as well. The curbs are the limit there, as well as every other corner where there is track limits enforced. So he's got to watch those in order to set that purple lap, which he doesn't seem to be able to do so, as he just did a 14.2 again. So I think the best life is out of his ties at this point, as I'm struggling for my English at this point. But
Oh, I'm sorry to laugh. I thought you were making a joke. Yes, we enjoy your English. Thank you for
Dutch
sharpening up
Glish.
your
Yes.
Dutch Glish here live on broadcast of VirtualRacing.Network. We love it. It's so cool that we're all from around the world. I can't even believe that you're sitting halfway around the world from me as we're doing this live coverage. But it's really a cool thing, and it's just like these racers out here. You know, you got Will Lyon from Scotland and many other drivers from all around Europe, even outside of Europe as well. No United States drivers in the field today, unfortunately. I guess we did see William Ashworth out there on the track for 2 laps total, but that was all he was able to get in today. But it's just great. Everybody can come from all around the world and be able to participate on iRacing together. And you do not have the worst English of these drivers that are in the field. That is for certain. So glad
that's
that
not
you're
very
here.
nice for drivers.
Well, everybody's work. I mean, English is like second language to a lot of these drivers. So, and for you, it's your second language. So it's like you're doing well. You're doing well. I do like hearing your Dutch Glish. It gets better and better each week.
Oh, I'm trying to get it better at least.
Well, and that's another cool thing that we like to do on the fixed broadcasts on Thursdays is give drivers a chance to speak in their native language, and we'll certainly do it here for the Prime Meridian Racing League as well. That certainly gives them a chance to talk in their native language, but also for their fans out there, their friends and family as well, just to give them a chance to hear them speak in their native tongue. So just some of the cool stuff that we want to do here at VirtualRacing.Network, and bring drivers and fans even closer to the action. Speaking of which, we are under 10 laps to go. Will Lyon safely out of that fast lap territory and putting in the final laps on this race. Just got to hang on to it for another 9 laps. You've got Anna Jorfi, who last came in on lap 39. There's no way that she can make it, I mean, without ridiculous fuel saving and the times that she's doing now. She just did her fastest lap of the race last lap, a 1:15.04 for Jorfi. And I mean, you talk about pace improvement and consistency. This is really great stuff out of Jorfi for 89 Motorsports. Nevertheless, she will have to make that final stop unless she can somehow pull 26, 27 laps out of a tank. So I don't think so, unless that passing SMS Racing driver of Matthew Levine is like a refueling plane going by and can give her some fuel as he goes by. But I think she's going to have to come in from that second place spot. And right now, Matthew Levine is just behind, ready to take advantage of that as soon as that should happen. Daniel Dinsdale, just behind SMS teammate, has worked his way up there. 9 seconds back from Matthew Levine now on that alternate strategy. He came in on lap 45 as well. So it's I guess that's only 20 laps for him to make it, so he won't be tight on fuel. Oscar Fredrickson, yes?
Anna coming into the pits now. I'm looking at my timing screens, and she is expected to come out in P5, so still on track for a top 5 result. Let's see how well her pit stop can go here, as I think she will rejoin just behind Oscar Fredrickson, if my timing screens are correct. So let's see. I would expect her to go to the Reds and short fuel her car. To the Reds indeed, she goes. And off and away again. Gotta be careful with that bump on the pit exit.
We'll go on board and
Oh, Oscar's already long gone there. Okay. So P7 it is for Anna Jorfi.
Slipping just back to P8, but again, let's see, who still needs to pit ahead? I think everybody else is going to make it to the end, as far as everybody ahead. So, but she'll have fresh tires, fresh red tires, as she's right on the back of David Soranzo there.
Push to pass. Here we go.
And she and David both on push to pass. It looks like she's got a little speed advantage coming off the corner. David choosing to go defensive and hang on the inside.
Don't do an elbow.
Oh, wow. Well, they both survived. Looks like a little damage possibly to Soranzo as, well, we'll go back and take a look at that one a little closer.
Robin's racing, right?
In these cars that fall apart when you look at them wrong, I would say sometimes, sometimes you bang wheels and you get away with it, but
well, we've seen this in real life. These cars can handle a little hit, so hopefully for Anna she can keep going. I don't see any damage on her car myself, so I think she is good.
we were playing the wrong strategy, or the wrong replay there, but you can see it looks like it's really difficult to tell. We can back it up just right here on your screen, and we'll look at from Jorfi's point of view. Now she's on the outside. Let's go slow-mo into the corner. Looks like she turns in, and there's just she doesn't really quite give enough room for Soranzo to be there on the inside, but she didn't exactly cut down into him. So again, just two drivers trying to hold the same position at the track at the same time, and didn't really work out for Soranzo. So unfortunately, Soranzo dropping back. Hopefully not too much damage, but now Soranzo back into 8th, and Jorfi up into the position that she qualified in 7th. So 5 to go, and it is still Will Lyon leading an SMS freight train here at Red Bull Ring. They've had it figured out today. It's Lyon, Levine, and Dinsdale. Then just back from there, you've got Oscar Fredrickson, who's, again, rebounding after qualifying 2nd, having a tussle with Hugo Olsen, and then managing to get it all straightened out and get it back together. Now back up into 4th spot. Looks like that's about as far as he'll be able to climb today, as it's going to be a 6-second gap up to Dan Dinsdale in front.
Yeah, Jorfi just got by Gleason there, and you could just see how much time Anna was able to make up under the brakes into turn 1 especially. That set her up for turn 3 to make a nice clean pass down the inside for turn 3. And now I'm watching currently Gleason, and I'm also seeing that Anna's driving away from him here. So like you said, Anna's got the freshest tires, the lowest fuel load as well of all these cars around her. So now she's opening the charge of 6 seconds. To try and get by Severi Seppa here for P5.
Well, this may indeed get very exciting as these other drivers trying to make it on fuel strategy and hang out there on old tires, and Jorfi on these brand new tires now, a 14.06, so her fastest lap of the race last lap, this time a 14.47. You know, 14.06, that's right in the territory of the top drivers on the day. Will Lyon getting in a 13.7, and Hugo Olsen getting in a 13.6, so really close to those times. But Jorfi now, as you said, closing down that gap to Severi Seppa ahead, and was almost a second faster that time than Seppa. So this is probably the best battle that's starting on the track at the moment, and we'll see if that can close down. In the meantime, we'll watch that, and with 3 to go here, we'll introduce something new, and I can talk about it. Just want to bring a little attention to the support that we've been able to get, and I don't have their names up there officially right now, but so far for VirtualRacing.Network's October support goal, we are already underway, and Thomas Christensen, the first one to jump out there and support us over here at VirtualRacing.Network through our PayPal donations. We really appreciate that. And Erica Lindstrom also getting in there with a donation this month as well to help us out. Of course, here at VirtualRacing.Network, we are not charging anybody any money to do these broadcasts. So those of you who are coming forward and able to help us through our PayPal donations, we really appreciate it. It covers our costs and allows Prime Meridian Racing League, for example, to charge no entry fees to anybody. So yeah, just part of what we're trying to do here. We really appreciate your support, as well as the US IndyCar League in the month of September, basically covering the whole month of September for us. We do appreciate that. Of course, you can catch the US IndyCar League on Sundays right here on VirtualRacing.Network. So back to the front, it is Will Lyon. It's been Will Lyon's day all day. He took the pole. He tried to take the fastest lap. He was just shy of that fast lap, but he won't sweat that. He was close enough, and everything else that he's done today has been a picture of perfection. Hanging on and putting 16 seconds between himself and Matthew Levine at the moment, his teammate. But right now, it is the SMS Racing show here on VirtualRacing.Network as they line up first, second, and third thus far in the results. And a couple of other drivers having great days. Dinsdale recovering from taking pole position last week at Gateway, and then unfortunately not able to finish that race where he would have wanted. But rebounding this week and coming in with an alternate fuel strategy, right now running in third, and just definitely adding to that SMS Racing stable of top quality drivers. Oscar Fredrickson, again, you know, I'll privately be surprised that he's doing this well against this competition at the Red Bull Ring, but I think really it's just Oscar saying, hey, you can't count me out any week. I've got the talent. I can get top fives. I can get podiums. This is a driver who we're going to keep an eye out for each week that we go along, because he is going to be a new favorite to potentially challenge those leaders just up in front of him. Not able to take a podium so far as we're down to the final lap, but I think that is in the cards for certain. Severi Seppa having a great first race here on VirtualRacing.Network for the PMRL. We've covered him over in the IndyCar iRacing series for quite a few races over there. Used to seeing him running up in the front, and not a surprise to see him in that fifth spot for Three Crowns Racing with IAR. And there also Anna Jorfi having another fantastic race, as we were mentioning earlier. This is on the season. She's just been gaining pace on road courses, but there it is. Will Lyon on your screen taking the checkered flag across the line. And we are unofficial, of course, until the stewards have their say, but I don't think there will be anything to take away from Will Lyon today. He did nothing wrong, touched nobody that we could see on the broadcast. And also there's a big shout out for Matthew Levine, who brings it home in second place for SMS Racing. He too had a fantastic race, basically picture of perfection all day, and was holding on to second with sheer pace out there. Daniel Dinsdale on an alternate strategy, bringing it home third, and Oscar Fredrickson, as we were just talking about, fantastic race here for fourth. And there is, and you hear the claps, the applause from the crowd as they stand on their feet. Sold out crowd as always for the Prime Meridian Racing League, but especially for Oscar Fredrickson. Apparently they chose to clap especially for him here.
Team owner's happy.
Team owner is happy. Hey, you know, you also don't have to write any checks today, owner Julian, as the drivers for SMS Racing make it convenient for us to get them all in one shot. Will Lyon, Matthew Levine, Dan Dinsdale, all kind of showing up there, forming up for us. Dinsdale destroying Will Lyon's car as he sits in all three of these cars. Wow, we watched. Was that Jesper Orman? That
well, as they say in the UK, some post-race banter.
I'm not sure who that was who came flying in there at the very end, but that was quite the destruction. I'm not sure. Sam Blackwood. Well, Blackwood had a heck of a difficult day. I'm sure he's ready to write that car off for Wyvern Racing. Levine and Lyon doing their podium celebration. We'll wait for some of that smoke to clear. But this was an amazing first race here at the Red Bull Ring for us to cover on VirtualRacing.Network. I thought it raced pretty well today at various points, as these two SMS teammates still continuing to have fun on the track. What did you think, Julian? Good first race here at Red Bull Racing, or Red Bull Ring?
Oh yeah, for sure. We saw action all the way through, so it was great to watch, especially during the pit cycles. We saw some good side-by-side racing as well for cars trying to get by cars, holding them up on alternate strategies. So it was great to watch all those strategies play out as well, which is kind of an area which I've been focusing on a lot tonight. But the racing overall has been great. And yeah, really hats off to all these people for making it such a clean race. We barely saw any incidents apart from one or two. So I have to say a real good job by all of those drivers tonight.
It was an excellent job. We saw some unfortunate contact, but I think that's going to come with really tight, close racing. And again, I was just happy to see that this one didn't get too spread out early on. A lot of drivers had a lot of chances to pass, especially with that push to pass and these long straightaways. Looking forward to a lot more races, obviously, including the rest of the races for the PMRL, but certainly to see more races for IndyCars here. So we're going to take a look into our booth and see who has managed to come wandering on in. Let's see if we can grab our third place finisher. Oh, actually, our second place finisher, Matthew Levine. Matthew, can you hear me?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing being in that SMS Racing sandwich there that managed to capture the entire podium? You managed to have a great race starting from back there in fourth and work your way up into second, and then it looked like you were just on autopilot from that point. Congratulations on your second place, Matthew.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a tough one out there. But
what was difficult today? What was your struggles today?
the first and second stints, they went all right, but the difficulty came for me after I tried to mix up the strategy a little bit against Will, but it backfired massively, and I spent too long on the reds, burnt them out, and just lost heaps of time, and they were just understeering like crazy. So they're a bit tricky to not rack up those off tracks. 18 is not many round here. Very easy to get. Yeah.
Very, very inviting to go off track, especially on those exits. Was that, so you talk about fuel strategy, that didn't play out for you. What exactly didn't play out the way that you wanted it to? And obviously, how close were you on those track limits? Was it really a problem? Were you, how many incidents did you have at the end, and were you fighting to just keep it straight on the track?
I think at the end, I wasn't too bad. I think I was only on 9, but that was with being cautious. If I wasn't sort of had half my mind on not getting them, they would have just gone up easily. But in terms of the fuel, I underestimated the pace that the black tires would have on low fuel. I tried to undercut Will, get on the reds, and get those quick red laps in, but he managed to match me on the low fuel black times. So he actually pulled out quite a big gap when I tried to undercut him, and then after that, there was just nothing I could do to gain that time back. It had already been lost in the pit lane. Yeah.
So you had to respond and adapt, but again, nothing that you could do. It's funny because I figured that you and Lyon would be sharing tips back and forth and trying to stay on the same strategy, but it doesn't work exactly like that in the team. It's not always figured who's going to get first and who's going to get second. You're all battling each other to try to see who can take that win.
Started off on the same strategy, and initially I was going to follow him, but there was a bit of a gap to P3, and I thought we had the pace on them, and the battle was just between me and him for the win. So I thought, let me try something different, see see if something can work and I can sneak that win away from him, but he had too much pace in the end.
It's difficult to sneak some of that meat out from underneath the nose of the lion, but he'll smell it each week, and that's enough for him to stay in charge. But you tried to sneak one out this week. He still got 7 more rounds to go. I'm sure you'll get one in there. Nevertheless, this is becoming quite a very familiar role for you. Second place in the race, tail gunner for Will Lyon, certainly able to fend off any Chargers. Also got to feel really good, though, for you after Hugo Olsen and Oscar Fredricksson's battle sort of tangled and they started to slip back. Daniel Dinsdale on an even different alternative fuel strategy than both of you, able to put his strategy together and come back and get a third podium position. So new addition to the team, and he's already helping out.
We knew Dan was he's quick. If he has a clean race, I mean, he could probably beat Will as well. I think Dan, he struggled in quali a bit. He had a pretty good time on his first lap, but he off-tracked it, I think. And then from there, he had to go on the alternate strategy to make up ground, which it made up ground to get him to third place. But yeah, starting in the pack without a caution, it's always going to be difficult to get the lead. But no, he did a great job. It was great to see 3 SMS cars all on the podium, all with the Project Cars logos on them. That's great stuff.
Well, and we were talking ahead of time. Did you do any training on the Red Bull Ring inside of Project Cars, since you probably had that? Well, you've had it since Project Cars 2. So you've had a lot of time to train at the Red Bull Ring, even though it hasn't been here in iRacing.
Oh yeah, we've done plenty of races on it in the wet and in the dry. So
well, this
it's a good
week.
track for us.
And there you go. It is a good track, and you've had lots of time to practice on it. And this week, all of your cars not ending up in a wreck, not ending up broken. So Ian Bell's got to feel really good about that as well. So hey, Matthew, fantastic run again. You're seeming to get these podium positions each and every week. Things looking really good for SMS Racing, not only in the team championship, but individually for all of you as drivers. Congratulations on another podium. Any shout outs for you this week?
As always, it's got to be for Ian Bell. Just a thank you for the Project Cars series and the Madness engine. Without that, you know, the SMS team wouldn't exist, and we wouldn't be here racing today and chatting to you now. So, yeah.
Well, we do thank Ian for his help and getting you all out here on the track. I sure hope that we see some sort of coverage of that. Like you should be able to get this up on your TVs there all over SMS and start getting some billboards in your favor, at least for Will Lyon and yourself. But brilliant job. Thank you, Matthew. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week from Spa-Francorchamps.
Thank you. Get a bit.
My pleasure. Matthew Levine joining us after taking second place here in round 3 of the PMRL at Red Bull Ring. And actually, we have a chance now to chat with Dan Dinsdale, who wanders in off the track, having gotten third place. Hey, Dan, can you hear me? And does he hear me? I don't know. There he is. There he is.
Sorry.
Hey, that's
Sorry.
okay. Had to get the towel and wipe all that sweat off your brow, deal with your fans, sign some autographs. I understand how it goes. Dan Dinsdale, wow, what a great finish. You started in 8th, and last week we saw you get the pole, and things were looking so good. This week we were just hoping you'd be able to hang on to it, but you went on to a total different fuel strategy, and it really worked out for you today. You got third. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, as Matt said before, it was like a disastrous qualifying. I don't know what happened. I think a few of us just couldn't get the final corner. We just couldn't get the car rotating and just kept getting off track no matter how careful I was. And I managed to get a banker in. But yeah, being in the midfield at Red Bull Ring is actually really tough. Just you have so much dirty air through the second half of the lap. And I was just like, I want to get out of this as soon as possible. So pitted, and yeah, it worked out. I think I pitted early, and then thankfully I think it was Sam and Connor maybe came in a couple of laps later, and I knew that I had to be ahead of them or else it was going to be it wouldn't work. And thankfully, I got out the pits just ahead of them, and that kind of made the rest of my race, to be honest.
Got out ahead. Did you face any of the issues? I mean, was it a struggle for you today to stay in the track and not go out, pick up those incident points for going off track? It just seems so inviting to try to utilize all that extra space and pick up some time. But and we heard Matthew talking about how difficult it was for him. Were you struggling with that today, or was the car set up pretty well, keeping you on rails where you wanted to be?
No, I was absolutely all over the place, and I think I had 4 off tracks left at the end, so I was just like, that when you slip into that 4 left, and you know that one contact with another car will send you for a drive through. I was kind of nervous about it, and I had some close racing near the end, where I made a stupid move and I went off, and I was a bit nervous about those off tracks for the last few laps, and I had to mute Matt and Will so I could try and concentrate on the last few laps, because I was absolutely terrified of making a small error and getting disqualified. So it was very tough. Well,
and yet you hang on to it there at the end, well, they say, I mean, they give you those off tracks as we're watching on screen, and you got very close to an off track as we're just watching there on screen. So easy to get close to those track limits. It's not like there's a clear, distinct line around the track either that you can make sure that you stay within either. It's kind of arbitrary track limits here. So, but they give you all of those incidents to use, and you can use them, but when you get towards that end, then that fear factor starts setting in that if I get any off tracks or collisions, it may take me completely out of this race. I may have to pit and take that penalty. So, yeah, going forward, Spa-Francorchamps next week. You did so well here on an alternate fuel strategy. Might you be thinking of going that same direction? And was that a plan from the get-go? Were you planning to take a totally different strat than Will and Matt?
I don't have to use it, because I think the only reason I used it was being stuck in traffic, and I think if I could be, within touching distance of Will or Matt, I would probably not want to use that strategy. But once I qualified in 8th, I knew straight away that I was just going to, do the alternate strategy. And I think, at least at Spa, I mean, you can overtake quite easily there, but I think the problem with this strategy, and I got very lucky today with a few incidents around me, which would have made it much tougher to get on the podium. But I think, if you pit early, like I've done in both road course races, you really are a sitting duck in that final stint. And I got lucky today because I had enough of a buffer, but I'm not sure I want to take that risk at Spa. So we'll see. My pace normally isn't great at Spa. It's not one of my favorite tracks. I kind of prefer the small domestic style little circuits that we race on. So yeah, it might be sort of a damage limitation race for me, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You never know. I mean, we certainly didn't expect that you were going to come out and snag pole position there at Gateway. We certainly didn't think that you were necessarily going to be able to work your way completely through the field to 3rd place. So perhaps next week it may be your race after all. We heard Matthew saying that he was trying to snake away that win away from Will Lyon. Maybe next week it'll be your chance to do the same. We wish you best of luck next week as we head to Spa, and congratulations to you and the rest of your SMS teammates. Hey, do you have any shout outs before we let you go?
I guess, yeah, thank you very much. I'll give a shout out to Matt, Will and Adam, because they allow me to stay up past my bedtime by joining this league. So I used to, so it's been nice staying up past 8 p.m. in the UK for once. So yeah, it's been very enjoyable so far.
You going to bed at 8 o'clock? They got you working that hard there at SMS? My goodness, putting in 22-hour days there for SMS. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough with these guys, but.
Well, good deal. It's great to have your camaraderie together, and it's cool to see you out there on the track, all doing well together. We'll see what next week brings. Congrats to you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
So Daniel Dinsdale joining us from 3rd place on the track. Real quick, I'd like to jump over and see if we can talk with, I saw him pop into our booth. Hey, Sam Blackwood, are you there?
Yeah.
You got me. Hey, you don't sound real happy, and I can kind of understand why. You and Wyvern Racing were looking really good. You and Connor were up there in the top 5, fighting for position. and unfortunately Connor got struck down, and then we were on board live watching you come out of the pits. Can you tell us what was going on there?
Just thought I had just lit up the rears coming out the pits, and thought I had the audacity to overtake the SMS cars as I come out the pits, and yeah, lit the rears and couldn't save it in time. Straight into the Encore barrier, dead car.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's pretty much what we saw. And then it's at one of those points on the track in the middle of the pit lane where there's really nothing you can that you can do about it. You can't do like a Austin Powers 57-point turnabout. The pieces on the car is going to come flying off as you tap them. So you had no choice. You had to take the tow truck and have it tow you all the way around. That must have been super frustrating after your day.
Yeah, I was facing the wrong way down the pit lane. I thought, well, maybe I could reverse it back up, but the car wasn't moving at all, so I just had to tow. And then obviously that was the last Wyvern car that was properly running at the end of the day, so it was just me hitting almost everything on my desk that I can reach at that time. Just pure frustration, because it's another top 5, another potential podium thrown out the window again. I don't know what I have to do to get a good result in this league. I really don't. I put in all the practice and work and it just doesn't pay off.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, we've seen, I think the results have been speaking for themselves up until now, with Wyvern Racing right up there in that team championship, and you and Connor looking even stronger this season in season 2 than season 1. It's just unfortunate seeing both of you suffering uncharacteristic mistakes here. Connor getting tangled, and then I've had that same mistake. I don't want to say it's a mistake, because I was exiting in a league race from Laguna Seca and just got wheel spin exiting the pits. I'd done it 100 times before that, but I don't know if that's exactly what happened to you, but I was shocked when I left the pits and I got wheel spin, almost put me into the barriers. Unfortunately, that catching you out. Hey, you can respond. I think that you and Connor, both fast and balanced drivers on road courses and ovals. I think it's a great future looking for Wyvern. And what do you think next week, Spa-Francorchamps? Favorite track of yours?
If I'm to be honest, no. Spa's one of my most hated tracks, because 2017 I had a league race at Spa in AOR, and 4 hours before that my grandma passed away.
Oh, so sorry to hear that.
So every time I come back to Spa, I get brought back to that day when it happened. I actually still got a 4th in that, but that's on a completely different sim in quotation marks. But every time I come back to Spa, I just get haunted to that day, and I've never really done well at it, never really gelled with the track. However, next Wednesday is my birthday. I'm turning 23, so maybe I can get something in the works on that day.
Well, congratulations on making it to 23. It is certainly not easy in this world to do so, but not only that, you are showing well week in and week out. You had a great race running here. Just an unfortunate thing catching you out, as it sometimes does to other, top name drivers. Hugo Olsen having a problem today, getting into a tangle with another driver. It just, sometimes you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time. But I sure hope for your sake that you can do one proud for yourself and for your past grandmother next week, and get a great result, not just for yourself but the team. And we're all anxious to see you win the team championship so you can get that tattoo.
It's coming, hopefully. Just had a rocky start. We had a good start at Road America. Yeah, good result there. I thought, well, this is gonna be a jumping stone, and we've decided to trip up on our own shoelaces in the next 2 races. So hopefully it's Spa, and then I think it's Indy after that. Indy, we definitely feel like we have a good shot. I've already done some practice around Spa in a different league. Julian knows about that. That didn't go well either, but
say the name. But also to online racing, I'll do it for you.
Oh yes, no, we're fine with cross promotion here. I don't give an F. I just can't curse. But no, we there's nothing, there's no competition as far as we're concerned. We like all of them, and anything that Julian's doing, we're all fans of. Could make it more awkward, but there you go. Sam Blackwood, thank you so much for joining us, though, and doing an interview. I know it was a frustrating day, but we'll look forward to seeing you back up there in the front and challenging for podiums, hopefully starting as soon as next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hopefully I'm back here on actual merit this time.
You betcha. Well, either way, great to have your input. Thanks, Sam, and good luck to the rest of the Wyvern Racing teammates. One final interview to go here. Of course, it's with our race winner and points leader and season 1 champion, current reigning champion. The Lion was on the move today, and he did everything he needed to do. He looked like the Lion, the lead of the pack. And Will Lyon joining us here, VirtualRacing.Network post-race interview. Hey, Will, can you hear me?
Hi, Trevor. How you doing?
I am brilliant, my friend, but not nearly as brilliant as you are. The only thing you didn't do, you didn't get that fast lap. So you going to work on that?
Yeah, I did actually have a go. I think it was the third stint I put on the Reds, and I think I used 3 push passes on the lap. So if it wasn't enough, well, what can I say? I can't push any harder than that. So yeah, it's the only thing I keep missing out on is that fastest lap. But hey, I mean, I'm not going to complain. It was another great day, and particularly for the team. I don't think we as SMS have ever locked out a podium before in anything, like an official race or league or anything. So it's just fantastic to get everyone on the podium. Obviously, I don't think Dan would have made it if Hugo hadn't disconnected, but you know, still he did a phenomenal job to get all the way up from where he qualified. And you know, me and Matt will let him off for going silent on us on his last few laps as he was concentrating, not getting the off tracks. We'll let him off this time, but he owes us one now.
So it's a party on the team radio usually, but Dan needing to focus, and that's sadly frowned upon in the last few laps as you're all looking to celebrate. How dare he focus? But there you go. SMS Racing taking 1, 2, 3, and Adam was showing very, very well in the race as well, getting up to 7th place faster than he or higher position than he did qualify. Got to feel great right now. I mean, again, this is a fixed setup series. It's not like you have any setup advantage to pass along to the other teammates or anything. It's just all of you drivers at SMS really gelling well with the Dallara IR-18 IndyCar. I hesitate to ask you why, because I have a feeling like you're just going to come back to your Project Cars training grounds, but go ahead nonetheless. Why is SMS Racing just so darn fast?
I mean, to be fair, I think we're putting in quite a lot of effort. You know, we turn up to a lot of practice sessions, and we share our lap times. We do stints and we share lap times, and you know, if anyone's struggling with anything, we try and help each other out. And particularly with Adam as well, you know, we've got to say fair play to him. He's normally drives the F1 car, and he's not really used to the IndyCar, so it's, you know, it's full credit to him. You know, he keeps turning up, and he's putting in some great performances as well. I mean, we're just gelling really well. We're really enjoying driving, and yeah, I think you get what you deserve when you put the effort in, and that's what we've done. So, you know, I can't see this happening again at an SMS podium lockout, but you know, we'll keep pushing, and I'm sure we'll try our best at Spa. I don't think it's any of our favourite tracks, to be honest, but it's certainly a lot better now that the track limits have been adjusted, and we'll really be able to push on you know, the corner exits for once, unlike what we used to be able to do. So no, we just got to keep fighting. I know we've probably got quite a decent gap already in the team championship, but we've got to keep pushing. We know that, you know, power slides, 3 crowns, you know, even the Wyvern guys as well with Connor and Sam, they can all beat us. So we've got to keep pushing to try and stay ahead.
Well, and with the way that any given week can change, I mean, just as easily as you were able to lock out top 3 here, it could just as easily be 3 Crowns Racing and Wyvern locking out at the next race or at Indy. It's not an easy thing to do, especially with a fixed setup. It's one thing if you can grind on those setups and come out with the ultimate fastest setup and know that you have a half a mile an hour on the rest of the field, but it's another thing when you go into it knowing everybody's got exactly the same car, exactly the same setup, and there's no way to control that. You just got to go out there and go faster than everyone else, and yet you seem to be doing that. And so We did mention it in the beginning of the broadcast that it's not a surprise to see you in particular, but also your teammates at SMS at the front, because you do show up for those practices. You are putting in the time in the setup on the track. And so we appreciate that, but we also appreciate your dedication and your championship drive to not only get these race wins and lead SMS, but to defend that crown. Now, that being said, you did get a little lucky today because Hugo Olsen got tangled and then unfortunately had to disconnect from the race due to a connection issue. And then in addition to that, a couple of the other front runners, Oscar Fredrickson getting tied up with that issue and getting taken to the back. A number of other front runners just not really having a great day. Andreas Eick, third place in the championship last season, just not really able to find the pace today. So are any of those drivers a factor in your mind, thinking that next race we go to Spa, it could be Hugo Olsen who's faster, it could be Andreas Eick, or any one of these other great drivers in the PMRL?
Oh yeah, for sure. Me and Matt we're watching Hugo very carefully because his lap times were quicker than ours at quite a few stages of the race. So we know everything just aligned for us in this race. And me and Matt were battling as well. I know the gap at the end looked probably pretty big, but the only reason the gap was that big is because Matt had to mix up the strategy, because he was basically matching my lap times every single lap in that first and second stint, and he knew that he was going to have to rely on me, all of a sudden dropping off that pace a little bit or making a mistake spinning, and so he had to go for it, and it didn't work out for Matt this time. But we were pushing really hard there. I was asking him in the team chat, how hard are you pushing here? Because I was having to drive flat out just to maintain the gap, and he claimed he was driving at 90%, but I'm not sure if I believe that. I think he was pushing me as hard as he could, but well, that's what I hope he was doing. But there's a lot of talent here, and I know things got spread out a little bit today, but it can change very quickly, and that's what I'm saying. We really need to, it'd be easy to take the foot off the gas when you're leading championships, but we just got to keep fighting away, and we haven't had a caution yet on the road courses, and that can really mix things up. And Spa turn 1 can get a little bit fruity sometimes, so there's always the chance of a yellow flag coming out and really just throwing the strategy in the bin.
And always a chance for a random act like that, or again, just somebody coming out of the blue that finds the pace in the setup and manages to come up and challenge all of you. But again, you knocking it out of the park here at RedBull Ring, A1 Ring, Österreich Ring, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but RedBull Ring, brand new race for everybody. You and SMS getting it done, making Ian Bell proud, and not destroying any cars, so he'll be happy that he doesn't have to write any more checks this week.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed though. I was going to do some burnouts at the off-track bit of turn 2, but unfortunately I ran out of fuel, so I think I'll be hauled into the office first thing in the morning, and I'll need to try and work out an explanation of why I didn't do any donuts to celebrate. So exactly. I know he likes to pin those photos on his wall, so yeah, I'm gonna have to grovel to him in the morning, I think. So I'm gonna have to pull something out of the bag. I
can't believe that he would call you out like that, being the winner and leading the championship. But darn it, Will, where's those burnouts? You're not
exactly.
Yeah. Well, taking it to the next level, pushing hard, and redefining the landscape as far as what can be done with the IndyCar. It's really similar to what Project Cars is doing over there, pushing the boundaries of what's capable with sim racing. But we're glad to have such high-level competition as yourself here, Will, and the rest of your teammates with SMS. You bring something new and better and bigger every single week. Congratulations on your victory and continuing to lead the points championship.
Thanks, Trevor. Hopefully speak to you again soon.
I'm sure we will. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Will Lyon joining us. They're fresh off of the track. Very happy with his performance, but disappointed because he has to go in and face his boss tomorrow, and he didn't get those donuts that his boss so desires. Well, that is it from the RedBull Ring. This was round 3 that you were enjoying for 65 laps. I hope it was as brilliant for you to see as it was for us to cover in full-scale, ultra-high definition 4K resolution. So coming up, as we mentioned, next week is going to be the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And again, some great draft battles can definitely happen next week. That should be a lot of fun. Indianapolis 250 going to be right after that. Always fun to go back to Indy. We get back to the ovals. And then it is road course oval right after that. Barber, Texas, Long Beach, very tight circuit, Pocono, and then our final race at Watkins Glen. It should be an absolutely great end of the season. We look forward to a lot more fun action as we go along. So make sure to tune in next Wednesday for our next PMRL race. Same time, same channel on YouTube. And of course, you can also tune in on tomorrow, Thursday, for Championship Thursday, as we do cover the NTT, the iRacing NTT IndyCar Series Fixed right here on VirtualRacing.Network. And then Sunday as well, we'll be having the US IndyCar League, as we do every single week. So on behalf of myself here at VirtualRacing.Network and all of the competitors in the in the Prime Meridian Racing League, I'm already jumping over to the next broadcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you this round of Prime Meridian Racing League coverage. If you'd like to join the Prime Meridian Racing League, you'll find the link down in the description, as well as ways to support us and stay tuned to all of the news and happenings as far as the PMRL and VirtualRacing.Network. Follow us over on Twitter, Facebook, and the rest. And until next week at Spa-Francorchamps, this has been Trevor Greenfield, and I am looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and join us tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.